My most recent book is Dune, House Atreides. It's the very first of a trilogy that's the prequel to Frank Herbert's classic Dune. Now, Dune was always my favorite science fiction book. I read it when I was 10 or 11. I've since read it maybe 7 or 8 times, and I get something more out of it each time. Frank Herbert, before he died in 1986, had written 6 different Dune novels, and the last one, Chapter House Dune, ends on a cliffhanger. He passed away and did not finish the story. And I waited about 10 years until I waited about 10 years waiting for some other book to come out, because Frank Herbert's son Brian was also a science fiction writer. And when nothing was forthcoming, I finally got up the nerve one day and I just sent him a letter out of the blue. I had had a bunch of novels published on my own. And I said, is anybody going to finish this story? And if you're not, can I do it, or can we work together? And we talked on the phone, and we agreed within a few minutes of after we first spoke on the phone. My wife Rebecca was in the room, and she said, you guys just started speaking a different language all of a sudden, because we were talking about the Bene Gesserit and the Padishah emperors and spice melange and all this stuff from Dune. We agreed to start doing a trilogy to Dune, because we figured that after talking a lot, whether we should start with a book that was set thousands and thousands of years before a story called the Butlerian Jihad, which Dune fans will probably recognize, or we could do the final sequel to Frank Herbert's books, which was thousands and thousands of years later, or we could do a book that was set as an immediate prequel telling the story of how the main characters in Dune came together. And we chose to do that one. And when we started writing the outline, started coming up with our story, after we had already decided what we were going to do, then the lawyer for the Frank Herbert estate said, I've just found 2 keys to safe deposit boxes. We didn't know anything about them. Let's go check them out. And inside the safe deposit boxes were Frank Herbert's full and complete outline for the last Dune book he wanted to write. And when Brian Herbert was cleaning out his garage or his attic to try to make room to make a bigger writing studio, he found a very large Xerox box full of 2,000 pages of Frank Herbert's original Dune notes. So none of these had been found for years and years until we started working on the project, and then they magically appeared. And Brian thinks that's his father's blessing pointing on it. House Atreides came out in October of 1999, and it hit virtually every bestseller list, and we also hit a great many of the best of the year lists, best fiction of the year, from Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, Library Journal even picked it as one of the best books of the year. And the second book, House Harkonnen, comes out in this October 2000. We just finished the first draft of House Carino, which is the third book, and moments before I came over to the convention this afternoon, I edited my first chapter in House Carino. So every minute of the day we have to do something related to writing. SciFi.com, the webpage for the Sci-Fi channel, has also just picked up a nice excerpt from House Harkonnen, the second of my Dune novels, with Brian, and they'll be running that shortly. I mean, it's already delivered and finished being written, and it's been accepted. So a nice little piece about how the Fremen, the native people in the desert world, how the Fremen sort of mete out their own particular brand of justice. And that will be up. It'll be a nice teaser for the second Dune book. The paperback of House Atreides, the first one, will be in stores in August, and the second hardcover will be out in October. We hope every October from that point on we can have some new Dune fiction out for the readers. Sci-Fi Channel is in production doing I believe it's a 6-hour, 3-part miniseries of Frank Herbert's original novel, Dune. Brian Herbert is a creative consultant on it. We've both read over the full scripts and made comments and input. William Hurt has signed to play Duke Leto, one of the main characters. I don't remember a lot of the other names offhand. The full casting hadn't been announced the last press release I saw. They were slated for an October release broadcast, I think. It might be bumped up to December, but it should be before the end of the year. We'll have another 6-hour version of Dune, and that'll be interesting because the David Lynch 1984 Universal movie of Dune is still, it's very popular, and a lot of viewers really love it. The Sci-Fi Channel has broadcast quite a few versions of it, the director's cut and the shorter version, the longer version. It'll be interesting to see how the fans react to this new version, because it really polarized the Dune community. David Lynch's movie, some people hate it, some people love it. So we'll see how this new version does. According to the script that I've read, it's very, very close to Frank Herbert's original novel.